Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. If you feel like letting go, you can take control. You can turn this all to something beautiful, where you feel life gets you down, 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 gets you down, down, down. Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time. Say it louder, say it louder. You're the question, you're the answer. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. If you feel like letting go, you can take control. You can turn this all to something beautiful, where you feel life gets you down, 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 gets you down, down, down. Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time. Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. If you feel like letting go, you can take control. You can turn this all to something beautiful, where you feel life gets you down, 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 gets you down, down, down. Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time. Say it louder, say it louder. You're the question, you're the answer. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. If you feel like letting go, you can take control. You can turn this all to something beautiful, where you feel life gets you down, 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 gets you down, down, down. Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. Bring the energy one more time.
good evening. Welcome to World Cup 2026 live here on LFS for our second game of the day. Our double-header Sunday action for you as the Netherlands take on Japan to kick off Group F. Two sides will be hoping to progress from this group, and they face each other at the first time of asking at this tournament. After what has been a high-scoring evening so far, Germany 7-1 winners against Curaçao earlier in the evening. Australia 2-0 winners against Turkey overnight, and Scotland 1-0 against Haiti. So some interesting results already in this one. But these two probably the closest matched of the teams in the matchups from today's action. Certainly two teams with hopes of that they can get something out of this game. They will certainly give themselves a chance at getting top of the group. And let's have a quick look at the summaries of both teams before we get you the team news. The Netherlands, of course, coached by Ronald Koeman, captained by Virgil van Dijk. They've been runners-up 3 times in the World Cup, most recently in 2010 in South Africa, but haven't got back there in 16 years. The player to watch is Cody Gakpo, who shone for the Netherlands in the Euros. And the Oranje are certainly a team to watch if you expect there to be an outsider winning this tournament. For Japan, well, Hajime Moriyasu is their head coach. Wataru Endo is their captain, but he is not here due to injury, so that was changed. Of course, their captain for this game is Ritsu Doan, the right wing back. Daichi Kamada is the player to watch. They finished in the round of 16 4 previous times, including each of the last 2 World Cups in the round of 16, and they want to get back there again. And with this group, they will feel they probably could, but we'll see how the Samurai Blue do in opening game against the Netherlands. Let's have a look at the two teams for this one, starting with the Netherlands. Bart Verbruggen starts in goal, a back 4 of Denzel Dumfries, Jean-Paul van Hekke, Virgil van Dijk and Mickey van de Ven at left back. Frenkie de Jong in centre midfield alongside Ryan Gravenberch and Tijani Reinders. And a front 3 of Crescencio Somerville, Cody Gakpo and Daniel Malen. On the bench for the Netherlands, Vlekken, Roofs, Hato, Gertrude, Wiever, Ake, Till, De Roon, Kluivert, Timber, Koopmeiners, Brobbey, Depay, Weghorst and Lang. Well, for Japan, as I said, they come into this one knowing that if they can get something out of this, they have every chance to top this group. Suzuki starts in goal. They've gone for the back 3 or / back 5 of their captain Doan at right wing back. Watanabe, Taniguchi and Ito are the back 3, with Nakamura as the left wing back. Daichi Kamada and Kaishu Sano are the midfielders, with a front 3 of Takafusa Kubo off the right, Daisen Maeda off the left, and centre forward Ayase Ueda up front. Well, we're on for a very tight game between these two expected. Two teams with very realistic hopes of going deep into the competition. Some people calling Japan their dark horses for this tournament to go to the very latter stages. The Netherlands really have faltered in the last few World Cups. They were knocked out by Argentina in major circumstances the last time they were in a World Cup. A late leveller denied them a win, and in extra time they lost out to Argentina. But the Netherlands are back and they want to conquer the world. Probably one of the highest ranked nations that have never been world champions. Some really bizarrely saying that could change, but no disrespect, I have them down as my kind of disappointment for the tournament, really, of underachievers for the quality of this squad and the team that they have on show. But we will see how they fare in game 1 against a tricky Japanese side. Never an easy game for the Netherlands to start the tournament, but there's no better way to start, and they're already under pressure here. Here's Daisen Maeda down the left-hand side. Nicely stopped there by Van Hekke, who come across. Here's Somerville. Plays it into Cody Gakpo, both sides right off the mark, with an attacking thrush between them. He's Mickey van der Ven out on that left-hand side for the Netherlands. Has played left-back before. Has played left-back quite a lot for his country over the last few months, Mickey van der Ven, and plays there to start the tournament. Van Dijk and Van Hecke, the centre-backs. And Denzel Dumfries, the right-back for Ronald Koeman's side. We come into this one, as I said, as the ranked 7th in the world, the Netherlands. After what was a under par Euros, they want to come back and show that they are better than what they showed in that competition. They had a tough group in the Euros, the Netherlands, of course, Poland, France and Austria, but they came through it. And of course, we'll see how they fare in this World Cup. As I said, they were knocked out by Argentina on penalties in 2022. They were actually unbeaten in their World Cup group back in 2022. They won 2 of their 3 games against Senegal and Qatar, and drew with Ecuador in what was a pretty easy group. No disrespect to those teams, but Netherlands certainly were the favourites to progress. They knocked out the USA in the round of 16, but were knocked out by Argentina, the eventual winners, in the quarter-finals last time round. The Netherlands settling with a bit of possession here. Van Hecke, Somerville, back to Jean-Paul Van Hecke, and the captain Virgil van Dijk plays it to club teammate Cody Gakpo. Malen with the hold-up, facing away from goal on the spin. Malen! Good shots, good save by Suzuki. Corner to the Netherlands, but wonderful from Donyell Malen here. Lovely instep from Cody Gakpo. Saw that a lot with the Netherlands previously. Gakpo driving inside. Malen with a great hold-up, facing away from goal, and spins away from his defender and struck it well at Suzuki, who made a good save and puts it behind for the corner, of which Tijani Reinders will take in a moment after the referee organises some issues in the box. Tijani Reinders, right-footed delivery, cleared away, and the Japanese defence in the box. Out for the throw-in. Well, Japan, they got to the knockout stages in 2022. Their record equal best finish in the competition. They beat Germany, of course, and Spain in their group. It was quite a dramatic group stages for Japan back in 2022. They stole the spot off Germany in second place in that group. A wonderful result for Japan. They lost to Costa Rica. Could have had a flawless group stages, bar that defeat to Costa Rica. Showed up in the big games. Gravenberch finding Malen, and Malen's ball through to Somerville was just a little bit off target. And they did get to the knockouts. They were knocked out at the first time of asking, Japan. Croatia knocked them out on penalties in 2022. So they took the lead in that game. In the end, the tricky Croatians ended up easing them out of the tournament. And they've had a very good record as of recently. They've lost just once in the last year. Since June 2025, they've lost just once, and that was to the USA in September of last year. They've won each of the last 6 games, all international friendlies for Japan, including wins against England, Brazil, Scotland and Ghana to boot. So certainly not a pushover team, are Japan, by any stretch of the imagination. Here's Ueda, lays it out to the left-hand side for Nakamura. Hugging that touchline, skips past Van der Ven to come across there, and that's going to be a foul and a free kick to Japan. Yeah, he dived in there, Mickey van der Ven, a little bit impatient. And Kito Nakamura, the Stade de Reims player, wins the free kick for Japan. The referee for this one is Ismail Elfath from the USA. Major Japanese contingent inside the AT&T Stadium. Daichi Kamada and Takafusa Kubo are over this free kick. It is Kamada who delivers deep to the back post. Headed back into the mix and flicked on by Kamada. He was in the end there, but I think that might have went behind for a goal kick. And the assistant on the far side flagging as such. Of course, if you remember, in the last World Cup, Japan had a controversial moment. I think it was in the win over Germany, where in their opening game they caught the ball back from the byline and there was no real direct view to show whether the ball had stayed in play or not from that one. And beating Germany. Wonderful moment. Albeit not a wonderful moment for FIFA. You see the Prime Minister of Japan in the crowd watching on. They'll win a free kick here around the halfway line there. Ueda winning the foul. After the Netherlands' bright start, it's Japan who've responded well. They had over 85% of the ball in the first 5 minutes, the Netherlands. Japan with a couple of free kicks here, trying to get their foothold in the game. Here is Ito, lifting it over the top. Maeda with the cross. It was a fired effort into the box, but Van Dijk able to clear. Here's Nakamura. Left the ball as he tried to drive in field there. Ito. Kamada trying the switch, but just too much there for Kubo to get anywhere near. That's going to be a goal kick, but looking dangerous in moments there, Japan. And of course, as I said, Sweden and Tunisia, the other two teams in this group, they will play in the early hours of the morning in this group. And they will have a bit to say about who will finish where in this group. Sweden under, of course, the direction of Graham Potter, former Chelsea and Brighton boss. And of course, there's no questioning, Sweden have some incredible players. Anthony Elanga, Alexander Isak, Victor Gyökeres, Lucas Bergvall amongst them. Victor Lindelof. I mean, there's quite a few for Sweden, certainly in the top end of the pitch. Two of the best strikers the Premier League has on show in Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres. Frenkie de Jong just about evading the challenge of Daisen Maeda. Van Dijk. Van de Ven. Virgil van Dijk. Finding Crescencio Somerville, who dropped a little deeper to get a hold of the ball here for the Dutch. This is Van Hecke going for the switch towards Gakpo and headed out of play there down the right hand side by Ritsu Doan, the Japanese captain. Took the captaincy off Wataru Endo, who was of course injured in the build up to this tournament. And there's Doan, the 27-year-old from Eintracht Frankfurt. He takes that job, of course, has played in the Netherlands previously and spell at PSV Eindhoven for a season. Spent most of his career recently in Germany. Joined Freiburg in 22 and Frankfurt last summer, and had played previously in the Netherlands with Groningen and PSV Eindhoven. Ritsu Doan. Well, 10 minutes gone, goalless. Netherlands certainly with the best chance of the game when Donyal Malen on the spin struck it cleanly at Suzuki. He was able to make the good save down to his right hand side, as here is Suzuki going long. Van Dijk charging in to win the header, but No one to win the second ball for the Dutch. That's nicely worked. Nakamura driving infield, switches it out to the right. Here is Doan. As they edge up the pitch here, here's Tsuyoshi Watanabe. Right to the left-hand side for Ito. Nakamura. Kamada trying to measure one. Maeda's broken behind though, trying to carry it with him. Nakamura for support. Back to Kamada, sorry. Now Sano. Started to take control of this game, Japan, in the last few minutes. It's Kubo to Doan. Doan trying to go for the early cross. Cleaned away by Virgil van Dijk. Will be guided back to his goalkeeper by Taniguchi. He was the last man back there for Japan. Well, for the Netherlands in the build-up to this, they had some interesting results in their international friendlies. As of recently, a 1-0 defeat to Algeria and a 2-1 win over Uzbekistan, albeit they were down to 10 in that game. But interesting results, certainly not the most confidence-boosting results for the Netherlands coming into a World Cup. Albeit their qualification was pretty straightforward, unbeaten in their eight qualification games, 6 wins and 2 draws for the Dutch. Playing Finland, Malta, Lithuania and Poland in their group in the build-up to the tournament. Scored 4 goals 4 times across the tournament, or across the qualification stages, including 3 of their last 4 games in their group. They won by 4 goals to 0 and 8-0 against Malta as well early in the tournament. And they can be free scoring when they want to be, the Netherlands. That's a lovely ball by Kamada to Maeda, trying to cross it early, but Denzel Dumfries in the way. Puts it behind for the corner to Japan. Look to threat again. It's Kamada and Maeda linking up nicely down that left-hand side, and takes it down well with his chest. Daisen Maeda tries to cross it early as Daichi Kamada is going to take this corner for Japan. Their first corner of the game. Built well into this game. Kamada, right-footed delivery, round the back post. Headed away by Van de Ven. Recycled by Sano. Daichi Kamada flicks it out wide to Nakamura. Kubo rolls it round the outside. Ito on the overlap. Maeda's in the middle, but that one went behind. They're calling for a corner, but it was a goal kick that was given by the referee. Lovely little flick around the corner by Kubo, and Ito made the underlapping run as he cuts it back in the 6-yard box. It was Daisen Maeda on the end of it. And it came off Jean-Paul Van Hecke in the mix. Whether it came off him last is a bit inconclusive. Goal kick was given though. A positive spell for Japan in the last 5 minutes or so. Van Hecke. Van Dijk to Van de Ven. Gakpo will win the throw in there. Well, history might go in the Netherlands' favour. They're unbeaten in the last 9 opening matches at a World Cup. They've won 7 of those, drawing the other 2. You have to go back as far as 1938 for the last time the Oranje were beaten in their first match of the tournament. They lost 3-0 to Czechoslovakia on that occasion, so history doesn't bode well for Japan on that front against their opponents, but we will see if that will change this evening. Somerville riding the challenge of Maeda, measuring it in behind, looking for Dumfries, but that was seen cleanly away by, I think that was Taniguchi in the mix. And of course, quite a fulfilled Premier League contingent in the Netherlands squad. Bart Verbruggen, of course, of Brighton, Van Dijk and Gakpo of Liverpool, Somerville of West Ham, albeit they're not a Premier League side anymore, Gravenberch of Liverpool, of course, Van de Ven of Spurs, Van Hecke of Brighton. There's quite a lot, quite a big Tijani Reinders, of course, of Manchester City, so there's only a handful, I think 3, if I'm counting correct, of the starting 11 out of the Netherlands that don't play in the Premier League. Denzel Dumfries, Frenkie de Jong and Donyell Malen. Although Malen did have a spell at Aston Villa before he signed for Roma permanently in the summer. Of course, on the Japanese side, Daichi Kamada of Crystal Palace will be the most known. Of course, if Wataru Endo was here, of course, he would be known, of course, as a Liverpool player. Daisen Maeda, some will know of Celtic, of course. Had a pretty good season at Celtic after what had happened. Had a fantastic ending and probably a key role in delivering the title for Celtic in quite dramatic circumstances late in the final game of the season against Hearts. He had a wonderful scoring form, you have to say, Daisen Maeda, to the end of the domestic campaign. He scored 8 goals in his final 7 games in all comps for Celtic, including 1 in a cup final. Here's Malen into the box, seen away at the back post by Watanabe. Netherlands starting to just grow a bit more in control with their possession. Malen looking a threat in that central area of the top end of the pitch. Gakpo. De Jong. Nice take by Reinders. Lovely hold up there from Gravenberch. Van Hecke. Right to Somerville. Back to Jean-Paul Van Hecke. De Jong. Nice play from the Dutch. Right to Gakpo. Up against Doan. Gakpo prodding it through. Little 1-2. Gakpo trying to receive the return, but just beaten to it. And Kubo there assuring Van de Ven was only going to get a throw out of that. It's quite a good mix inside AT&T Stadium in terms of the support for both teams. There's a dotting of orange as well as a dotting of blue around the stadium, all in little pockets. Here's Gakpo. 20 minutes gone, still goalless, but not much goal-mouth action by that Donyell Malen chance and Daisen Maeda's effort. Both the closest that either side have come to this point. Van Dijk wide to Gakpo. Drifting infield, tracked all the way by Kubo and Doan, who are doubling up on Cody Gakpo. They know his danger for the Dutch. didn't have his best season by any stretch of the imagination for Liverpool. Actually had his worst season since 2021 in terms of goal scoring. Scored only 9 goals across the campaign for Liverpool. That's as low as it's got. He actually hasn't scored below 16 goals since 2021 in a single season. Cody Gakpo, 19, 20, 8, 16 and 18 in the last 4 seasons prior to the one just passed. So a downturn in his numbers in terms of for his club, but for his country, he scored their last 2 goals. The Netherlands, both penalties in their 2-1 win over Uzbekistan. And in terms of a World Cup, he scored in all 3 of the Netherlands group games in 2022. Scored their equaliser against Ecuador and one of the 2 goals in each of their 2-0 wins over Senegal and Qatar. Didn't, however, score in the knockout stages. And in terms of the Euros, he scored in 2 of their 3 group games in the Euros. In a win over Poland and a defeat against Austria. But did score an assist in the 3-0 win over Romania in the round of 16 at the Euros 2 years ago. Well, as we hit the halfway point of the first half, we have a hydration break, albeit we're inside a air-conditioned stadium and a temperature-controlled arena, the AT&T Stadium, similar to the one we watched a little earlier for the Germany-Curacao game. What was I going to say? Similar to the Germany-Curacao game where the stadium was covered over. It's a dome-like stadium due to the searing heat, and while they have this hydration break, of course, we get some shots of the crowd. There's Mario and Luigi and Yoshi in the Japanese crowd. It's a karate. Love those little shots of the crowd. But I have to say, so far it has been a pretty even game. There hasn't been much between the two. I think the Dutch have had more possession, but nothing too dangerous, nothing too concerning for either defence as of yet. And that's kind of the way that we expected the game to go. It would be a tight battle, a narrow game, not much between them. And it could come down to individual moments that could separate these two. As I said, they're rightly the top 2 in this group. No disrespect to Sweden or Tunisia, but in terms of the overall squad levels, you would probably say these two would usually fare the best. While we do have this hydration break, they do turn into little tactical meetings on the sidelines. The head coaches get involved, they all crowd around, they are taking in liquids. Just getting that. If you ever see it in extra time or before penalties where they all get together and huddle on the side of the pitch, it's very similar to that. Oh, someone's got the binoculars out. 80,000 the capacity inside the AT&T Stadium. So we will get ready to restart here from the hydration break. There will be a throw-in on the far side. I believe that was the last thing that happens. Of course, the jury's out really about these hydration breaks. Of course, in this sort of stadium, there's really no need, due to the fact that it is air-conditioned, it's protected from the outside heat. But in open-air stadiums like of the way it was in New York last night between Brazil and Morocco. Almost 30-degree heat, open air stadium, baking sun shining down in the middle of the New York day. But I think in a stadium like this, it's a dome, it's air conditioned, it's become mandatory across every game in the tournament. That is what FIFA have. It was introduced, of course, as a mandatory thing back in 2022 in Qatar. It has become much more of like a, some have called it, like the American sports, where you like to see basketball or the NFL go into quarters rather than two halves. Football at this World Cup has become like a 4-quarter game, which is a unique aspect, but I can understand why it's been done. But I think it is a bit long. I mean, 2.5, 3 minutes for a hydration break is a bit excessive. But it's what's been decided. Whether you like it or not, that's the way it's going to be. So we had the madness of the multitude of extra time. If you remember in the last World Cup, 7-8 minutes was just the minimum you would get of added time. Even in the first half, there was far too much extra time. So there's always little intricacies at World Cups where FIFA try and change things. Here's Nakamura for Japan. Kamada wide to Ito. Ito with the cross. Dangerous effort. And Heka got in the way of it. Cycled by Sano. Out to the right hand side for Doan. Doan with a left footed ball held up by Maeda. Opportunity for Ueda. And Ito having a go. Just over the crossbar. Nice work from Japan though. Recycled it well. As we see Ito's effort, but the build-up play prior to that was pretty decent from from Japan. And the Netherlands looked a little bit exposed. Bit of a blind pass there from Daichi Kamada. De Jong, Van Hecke, Dejani Reinders, back to Mickey van der Ven. Virgil van Dijk as they push further and further into the Japan half here in the Netherlands. Gakpo, van der Ven, Van Dijk. Trying to maneuver in and around this Japanese team. That's lovely from Gakpo. Van der Ven with a cutback. Cleared away by Taniguchi. Back it will come. Somerville. Van Hecke. Really good combination between Gakpo and Van der Ven. Gakpo dragging wide, hugging the touchline, and the underlap from Van der Ven on the run. Getting to the byline, looking for the cutback. Really well worked move. Here is Frankie de Jong to Gakpo. Inside to Reinders. Clipping one over the top, looking for Dumfries on the outside, but that's well spotted and stopped by the Japanese defence. Gakpo. Off the touchline, onto his right. Lofting it round the back. Header across is onto the roof of the nets by Denzel Dumfries. I've seen Gakpo do that a number of times before. Denzel Dumfries just couldn't direct his header back across goal. Onto the roof of the net it went. As we hit the half-hour mark, remains goalless here in Dallas. Marlon to Frankie de Jong. A lot of Dutch possession. They're on the offensive at the moment. The referee kind of got in the way of the Netherlands passing there. Quick uncontested drop ball. And he says, have I missed much? Japan can play. I know this Netherlands show up or they don't. No middle ground like Turkey. I think the Netherlands, it's been a bit of a chess match between the two so far. The Netherlands have had a lot of possession, but Japan have looked dangerous in transition. They've had their little spells, but it's been a lot of Dutch control to this point, without much final third cutting edge. Both have had only one shot in the game so far. The game could open up. We've kind of seen that in terms of the Brazil-Morocco game last night. Well, it was a bit all about maybe just not losing the game rather than going out and trying to put down a statement of winning it. I think we've kind of seen that with a few games so far in the tournament. I think Canada-Bosnia turned out a little bit that way to that point as well. And really, to be honest, this, I have to say, probably out of all the games, probably the closest little matchup so far, other than probably Brazil-Morocco, which was a very close matchup. Gakpo's cross towards Malen, headed away by Taniguchi, but straight back for the Netherlands to have another go. Dumfries, Somerville, Van Hecke, Van Dijk, out wide to the left, Gakpo, up against Doan again onto his right foot, driving in, fails, and has to reverse a few about 10 yards to give it back to his captain, Virgil van Dijk. Somerville, Dumfries, trying to work the spaces, but overplayed a little bit there. Oh, the Netherlands pick up the pieces from poor Japanese play, and Daniel Malen trying to cut it back, blocked by Taniguchi, out for the corner. Well, it was a mistake by both there that led to the giving away of the possession. At first it was the Netherlands that overplayed it a little bit, and it was Daichi Kamada and Daisen Maeda, the two that were in the mix to try and progress it forward. They kind of got in each other's way, and that's what allowed Malen to speed away with it down the right. That was put behind by Taniguchi, out for the Dutch corner. The second corner of the game, right hand side. They've got some big markers from corners, none other than their captain, Virgil van Dijk. Let's see what sort of delivery Tijani Reinders has on this one. Swung in with the right foot, headed on and saved again by Suzuki. Reinders will whip it in again. The flick-on header is over the crossbar. Two big saves by Zion Suzuki. Has denied the Dutch an opener. It was Daniel Malen's head this time that it came off, and Suzuki with the stop. Daniel Malen the main threat for the Dutch, and Suzuki so far has held them on both occasions. Andy says the closer the teams are, the more cagey the games are. 100%. At the end of the day, you know, this group's a little bit hard to tell, and that's why I kind of say that yes, both teams will feel that they have a chance of going through in the top two, and probably these two will be the favourites, but Sweden are an unknown entity really in that sense, because they've got such great quality in certain areas, but we've seen that before with a lot of teams where they're kind of reliant on one section of the pitch and don't have that balance, whereas these two I think are much more balanced squads in terms of their overall quality. But sometimes it might just come down to individuals, and no disrespect to Tunisia, but I think everybody's really expecting Tunisia to be the outlier in this group, no offence, but I think this could be a group where three teams progress. It'll be interesting to see how Sweden do against Tunisia, because if they win comfortably, then it will be a three-way battle in this group, I think. And that's what will make the next games very intriguing as well. Here's Tijani Reinders. Whips in a free kick with the right foot. Bounces down in the box, and the shot off balance there by Cody Gakpo is over the crossbar. Yeah, it was always going to be difficult to keep that one down for Cody Gakpo. See it again, good delivery by Reinders. Headed down, I think, by a defender round the back. And bounced into the path of Gakpo. He saw it over the crossbar. Watanabe is down, just tying his laces for the moment. Christopher says, love from Ontario, go Team Canada. Well, Canada got, I wouldn't say off to a great start, but certainly off the mark with their first ever World Cup point, which is still a great moment for them in their game against Bosnia a few nights ago. Didn't mean that. As I said, AT&T Stadium, 80,000 capacity. Opened back in 2009. It's only 17 years old, and for stadiums, it's certainly very new. This will be the 21st football game held inside this stadium, the last of which was an international friendly between Mexico and Colombia. Colombia won 4-0 back in October of last year. They also hosted a couple of Gold Cup group games last summer. And the USA played here in a 2-1 win over Haiti. Also hosted a Copa America game back in 2024. Which saw Canada win on penalties against Venezuela in the knockouts. First ever football game in this stadium was Mexico's 3-1 win over Ecuador in a friendly back in 2014. And of course the home of the Dallas Cowboys, the America's team in the NFL. One of the most famous NFL franchises. Certainly not one of the most successful as of recent years, but maybe on the up again. We'll know more about that in the autumn. The game's had a little bit of a limbo period. It has been a very cagey affair, not much to really separate the two teams as of yet. But that's what makes it more intriguing. As we're getting more shots of the crowd. 6 minutes to go of the first half. It's not been a poor first half, it's just been both teams have kind of cancelled each other out, but I think it's slightly been edged by the Dutch. Their dangers further forward with Donyell Malen, but very little to separate them to this point. A lot of Dutch possession, to say the very least. Here's Denzel Dumfries trying to go for an early effort to cross, but Tyson Maeda was backtracking and sees it out for the throw. Somerville. Haven't really seen him have a go at anybody yet. Crysencio Somerville on that right hand side. More Dumfries on the overlap rather than anything else. Here is Denzel Dumfries. Van Hekke. Cross to Van Dijk. The Japanese camped in their own final third at the moment. Happy and comfortable with that, it seems. We've started this game with a back three. Japan, we expect to be a 3-4-3 from them. Van Dijk prodding a ball in the midfield, but given away cheaply. And a ball fed here to Daisen Maeda. Bit of a breakaway chance here for Japan. Nakamura skipping away from Somerville. Going for swing a deep one in, but that one's just sailed out for a goal kick. Not a bad attempt from Nakamura, but ultimately couldn't keep it in play. And a rare attack for Japan in the last 5, 10, even 15 minutes. As Taniguchi plays it back to his goalkeeper. It allows them to get up the field a little bit and trying to get a bit of the ball here. It's Taniguchi. Kamada's dropped a little deeper. Kind of moved into a 4 at the moment, with Kamada just dropping in alongside Taniguchi and Ito and Watanabe. Almost auxiliary fullbacks at the moment, with them in possession here, Japan. Taniguchi. Down the line it goes to Doan. All the way back to the centre back, Shogo Taniguchi. An intriguing setup from Hajime Moriyasu's side. Doan. Ball clipped into the box, taken down by Nakamura, who just sipped it wide. Oh, good cross from that right-hand side. See it here. Just caught out the Netherlands at the back post, and Nakamura takes it down and struck it quickly. It's just a half yard off target. It had Verbruggen worried. In the end, Nakamura couldn't hit the target. Not a bad effort. That was nicely done by Ritsu Doan against Cody Gakpo, just to ease the ball out of play for a throw. And they've done well at just not allowing the Netherlands to up the tempo of this game. In moments, Japan just kept them at bay for moments, allowed them to have a lot of the ball without really much zipping pace in the final third, which they do possess. The Netherlands, as though there's an issue here in the midfield for one of the Japanese players. I think it was Takafusa Kubo. It was that was down. He's up and okay. Here is Kamada, and a measure 1-2. Ueda, Ueda in behind! It's the side netting. Only hit it with height behind it. Ayase Ueda. Great ball by Daichi Kamada. You can see it from a mile off. Just that corridor right up diagonally through the Dutch team that was angling towards that pass for Ueda. Space was there and the pass was perfect. And Ueda just couldn't direct it towards goal from that narrower angle. A decent effort from Japan. 2 good efforts in the last few minutes. Started to show themselves as we edge towards the end of this first half. About to hit the 45th minute mark. A long will be added on. The end of this first 45. 3 minutes, probably the shortest we've seen so far. 3 added minutes, to be fair. Well, the last time these two met in a competitive game was in the World Cup back in 2010. It was in Group E. And the Netherlands beat Japan by 1-0. Wesley Sneijder with the only goal of the game, set up by Robin van Persie in that one. Albeit Japan held them to a very close game. But ultimately, was the Dutch that progressed and impressed. And the Netherlands side that finished top of their group. That one they won 3 out of their 3 games. Japan won 2 of their 3. A group that also included Denmark and Cameroon back in 2010. Here come the Dutch again. Malen on the spin. Taniguchi had to head that one clear. De Jong. To Somerville. Somerville trying to get involved in the game. Struggling again to really have a run at anybody. Nicely evading the pressure though. Finding Gakpo on the left. Van der Ven, Van Dijk. De Jong. Van Hekke. Everybody pushing forward for the Netherlands. Even their centre-backs are pushing up the field. Van Hekke's gone to right wing. Here he is, Van Hekke. And he does well to win a corner there for the Dutch of Nakamura. Nicely done there by Jean-Paul Van Hekke. That'll be their 3rd corner of the match. Referee having a chat with Hiroki Ito, the Japanese centre-back. Last 30 seconds of the first half. Absolutely flown by this first half, albeit no goals, but, well, to this point, commentators curse in comments, surely. Dejani Reinders to deliver this corner. 3rd time lucky maybe for Reinders. Right-footed, headed on, and onto the hands of Suzuki. Once again, anything that has come his way, he has been able to stop and deny the Dutch an opener. I think it was Malen again. As there's the half-time whistle. A first half of much more possession rather than out-and-out attacking football. Albeit, it's what we kind of expected between these two. A narrow game, a close game, very little to separate them. And that is where we stand at the break. It is Netherlands 0, Japan 0 at the break. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible.
Guess all that I do was easy to use. So call my time, but you weren't really mine, just something to do. Thought I never knew. No surprise, but nevertheless, I'm still stuck in self-defense. No surprise, but nevertheless.
Welcome back to World Cup 2026 live here on LFS. Halftime, it is Netherlands 0, Japan 0 in Group F, the Group F opener of the tournament. Both sides having some half chances from that first half. The Netherlands probably the best of them. Two Donyell Malen efforts stopped by Suzuki, but they've dominated a lot of possession. Have the Dutch without really, other than those Malen chances, really testing the Japanese defence, and Japan more on the break rather than anything else have looked dangerous. A real moment through Ueda was probably their best chance, and Nakamura's effort as well, so a couple of half chances for them from the first half. But very little to separate the two sides. Of course, it's been a busy day already. Haiti were beaten 1-0 by Scotland. John McGinn's solo effort enough to see the Scots claim victory and go top of their group. In Group C, Australia 2-0 winners against Turkey. A bit of a turn up for the books in that game in the early hours. Germany 7-1 winners against Curaçao, the smallest, shall I say, in terms of population. The side that qualified for the World Cup. They did score. Were 1-1 in that game. It's 7-1 it finished to Germany, and Netherlands 0, Japan 0 is your Sunday action. We're back tomorrow with another double header that starts with another major team versus a minnow. No disrespect to Cape Verde, but Spain against Cape Verde is our first game tomorrow. Group H tomorrow, 5 o'clock kick-off, a little earlier than this evening. That's in Atlanta. And we'll be watching the European champions face off against Cape Verde tomorrow, and that is before we watch Belgium face Egypt as well tomorrow evening. So another double header on the way for you tomorrow. But before that, a second half on the way very shortly, which sees Netherlands and Japan face off for another 45 minutes. So far, a mispress of the button. Nothing to separate them so far. Second half on the way next. Before we start the second half in Group F, let's have a quick look at the group tables as they stand so far. A couple of the groups already confirmed for match day 1. Mexico and Korea, the top two in Group A after their victories against Czechia and South Africa, respectively. Mexico top of the group on goal difference. In Group B, Switzerland, Canada, Qatar and Bosnia are all locked on a point apiece after their respective 1-1 draws. Switzerland actually only top of that group because they have the fewest yellow cards out of the 4 teams from the first game. That's Group B. Group C, Scotland lead the way with 3 points ahead of Morocco and Brazil, both on a solitary point, and Haiti bottom of the group in C. In Group D, that was a big difference between those two at the top and the two at the bottom. USA and Australia with opening game wins for those two, 3 points on the board. Turkey and Paraguay with work to do if they are to progress. And as we go all the way down to Group E, just one game played in Group E so far. That was Germany's 7-1 win over Curaçao earlier this evening. And that's the way that group goes. And currently in Group F, where we're watching this game, if the graphic will let me show you Group F. There we go. That is really confusing, that graphic. Really strange. Anyway, there's Group F. A point apiece as it stands. Sweden and Tunisia still to play in the other groups. Haven't kicked off yet, and we will have Group G and H tomorrow, I on Tuesday, and K and J, L all across the next few nights. I'm mixing up my letters. Anyway, let's get ready for the second half. The players are out onto the fields for the second 45 here at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. It is goalless between the Netherlands and Japan at the break. I Second half to come for either one of these two teams to change that scoreline. And a chance for Sweden or Tunisia to respond to whatever comes out of this game. And we're back underway then for the second half here at AT&T Stadium. The first half where, as I said, very little to separate the two teams. A very cagey first 45, but one or two half chances for both teams will give them some confidence that the net is within their sights. That's a lovely ball in behind from Gravenberg. Instantly from the start of the half, Somerville across. Oh, key interception at the back post to deny Cody Gakpo a chance to shoot. Reinders. Netherlands already on the front foot right from the beginning of this half. There's Van Hecke, headed into Gravenberg. Gravenberg running into trouble there. Dyson Maeda tracking back there to stifle the Netherlands' attack. Somerville trying to get more involved right from the off at the start of this second half. Dumfries. Broder finds its way to Malin, but that was cut away by Sano. He was able to burst down the left, but run out of room on the field to carry it forward. Throw into the Netherlands. No changes at half-time from either of the two teams. So, as you were, Gakpo, Van Hecke into Gravenberg, lays it out to Somerville. That link up will be key. Somerville back to Gravenberg. Gravenberg across it goes, and that was dangerous. No one in there to meet it, but that's where they kind of struggled in the first half at the moment, the Netherlands. There wasn't really much room for Somerville or Gravenberg to really get into the game in that right channel. Already in this second half, within 2 minutes, they've had 2 or 3 moments down that right-hand side. And have caused Japan some early problems. That's good hold up by Kubo. Ueda on the end of it. We'll see it out for the throw of Virgil van Dijk. Watanabe. Taniguchi. Ito. Lifting it out to the far left. One to try and target Nakamura on the overlap, but too much on it from Ito. Well, it was very Netherlands dominating possession and controlling the territory against the Japanese side, who were comfortable with sitting in and allowing the Dutch to have possession and try and hit them on transition or on the break. Over the top there from Ito. Ueda made the run in behind, but far too much on it for Ueda to have any concern out of. And Verbruggen easily retrieved. One thing they have done well is stifled them through the middle of the pitch. The Japanese against the Dutch. I haven't seen much of De Jong or Reinders or even Gravenberg in those very tight central areas. Been very congested and hard to play through, which is exactly what Japan have wanted to do, but Ritsu Doan has given away a free kick here. Cody Gakpo tried to chop inside him, and Doan just kind of barged into Cody Gakpo. That's definitely a foul. Ritsu Doan giving the free kick, which Tijani Reinders will take on this far left hand side. Lasers in on who he wants to find. Bright orange in the middle. Right footed, tried to swing it towards the near post. Maeda was in the way. Wasn't the best of deliveries from Tijani Rounders. Gravenberch with a whipping ball. Header by Van Dijk! Off the inside of the post and in. That is gorgeous from Virgil van Dijk. Quite incredible. The wonderful delivery followed up by the wonderful header. It was a Liverpool link-up of the very best. Gravenberch's cross, Van Dijk's deft header off the inside of the right post, and the Netherlands have breakthrough. Albeit Hajime Moriyasu, the Japanese head coach, has some complaints whether there's an offside or not, but to me there's nothing in it. Beautiful delivery by Gravenberch and a wonderful header by Virgil van Dijk, who had to wait. It bounced up off the inside of the right post and bundled into the net. A man who so often has done that for club and country does it again. The ever reliable skipper for the Dutch. And Virgil van Dijk on the score sheet as the Netherlands open the scoring in this game. Netherlands 1, Japan 0. Virgil van Dijk. Inevitable. He is inevitable. 8 goals this season for Liverpool. His most prolific goal-scoring season of his career. The last time he scored anywhere near that was when he scored 6 in the 18-19 season. He scored 8 goals. 3 assists. 6 of them coming in the Premier League. And he was a good yard and a half onside, if not more than that. Miles onside. And Virgil van Dijk opens the scoring. His last goal for his country came back in March when he scored in a 2-1 win over Norway in an international friendly. Last time he scored one in a competitive game was in a World Cup qualifier against Finland when they won 4-0 back in October. Also against Malta in the 8-0 win, so he pops up every now and again, Virgil van Dijk, for club and country. And the season gone past, certainly his most prolific, and he's given them the lead early in this second half, and a second half that so far really has been all Dutch pressure. And that's a lovely, lovely cross from Ryan Gravenberch. And a wonderful header by Virgil van Dijk. Some Liverpool fans will be questioning where was that all season with them, but lovely from Gravenberch. I've really seen that of Ryan Gravenberch too much with his crossing. More his driving runs up the middle of the field, but has played a little bit more on the right hand side in that half space for this game, and as I said, he kind of struggled along with Somerville down that right side in the first half, but clearly something they'd spotted, the Netherlands, to try and target that side, and they've done it all the way throughout the second half and looked so much more threatening in the final third. And I want to throw in here, it's just Japan have just not been able to go to that next level as of yet in the game. I wouldn't really say the Netherlands have been out of first gear too much. Andy says Japan need to go for it now. The game should open up more. How much more, I don't know. Well, yeah, I agree. I think Japan really can't continue to really set back too deep and allow the Netherlands to have so much dominance and control, because it's only going to go one way at that rate. They need to make this much more of an open end-to-end battle. That's where I think they can be much more dangerous, Japan, when they do be more aggressive and commit more forward. But at the moment, they're not too convinced wanting to do that. Verbruggen. Van Dijk. And of course, I remember so distinctly watching that World Cup game back in 2022 when the Netherlands played Argentina in the game that they ultimately, of course, went out of the World Cup. But I remember so distinctly of a game where the Netherlands needed some late drama. They were 2-0 down, they were down and out against Argentina, and they found a way to bounce back, and Wout Weghorst with the double off the bench. I mean, a 101st minute equaliser to take it to extra time is one hell of a battle, but Messi and Argentina ended up finding a way through. But just the sheer kind of fight back ability from the Dutch in that game just showed their grit and determination in a game that they were probably outclassed in all attacking areas, but they found a way to at least battle on for a little longer. In the game, ultimately, they went down to 10 late in the extra time. Albeit that was a non-factor really at that stage. And the next game they played after that was in March, and they lost 4-0 to France in a Euros qualifier. Nakamura with the cross here for Japan, wanting to respond, as that's not the best of touches from Ueda as the ball came close to him there. Nakamura down the left-hand side, nice run from the midfield for Kubo. Switched over to this left side, back to Nakamura. Trying to work an angle to shoot, and that's found a way in. I don't know if Daisen Maeda had a touch to it, but Nakamura finds the nets. And so did Japan to level. Well, this game has come alive in the last few minutes, and Keito Nakamura fires Japan level. Well, they've been under a lot of pressure since the start of this second half, and they find their first real breakaway chance. It's a good move down the left-hand side. Really good run by Takefusa Kubo of that left-hand side. Really good. And as he cuts it back, Nakamura's made the indenting run towards the narrow area of the field. But is there an offside maybe from Daisen Maeda that might make an impact? But the strike from Nakamura, no doubt about it, was a great one. And I think Maeda does take a deflection. I thought Maeda got something to it. There could be some concern here whether Maeda was offside and impacted the area of the goal, but the strike initially was great, and the goal will stand, so no concerns no more for Japan. They are level, and we have a game on our hands here in Dallas, and probably came at the right time for them. After the Dutch had scored, they'd been dominating this second half, and maybe just settles Japan back into it. Denzel Dumfries going to take this throw. Gravenberch trying to link it up there, nicely cut out. As Japan dropping deeper to have to defend again. Well, Virgil van Dijk scored his 13th international goal for the opener. And Keito Nakamura scoring his 11th international goal to make it 1-1. Just under 7 minutes the lead lasted for the Dutch, before Japan found a response. Lots of players crowding the goalkeeper. Long throw from the Netherlands, cleared away by the goal scorer Nakamura. Maeda trying to make a nuisance of himself as the bounce comes back towards the Japan box, and there's Ueda back defending. It will be a Dutch corner. corner for the Netherlands here as we hit the hour mark. 60 minutes up, 30 to go at least. This is Johnny Rounders, who took all the corners for the Netherlands. We'll take another one here. Right-footed delivery. Van Hecke tried to get his head to that, but it drops for a chance for Japan to counter-attack here. And they've got space down the right. The space is opening up for them. They can find the right pass here, and that's a poor challenge by Crescencio Somerville, who was late there. And it's going to be a yellow card for the midfielder. I think that was Watanabe who was breaking forward, and he just tried to cut back, and Somerville with a lazy right leg just swung it at the player. And Crescencio Somerville, the first one in the book. For this game. Well, has the momentum all of a sudden swung in the way of Japan since the leveller. It's Kubo and Kamada over it. Looks like it's Kubo's ready to take it. He's got his arms in the air, giving the signal. Interesting routine this. Let's see what they do. It is Kubo. He will lift it into the area, headed away. Taken about by Nakamura, who tried to lift it, blocked by Gravenberg. Nakamura recycles it back to Daichi Kamada. Looking for the switch. Taken in by Nakamura. Reverses it into the path of Maeda. Maeda across, and no one on the end of that one in the middle. And he's going to be punished there. Takafusa Kubo for a push on Somerville. Free kick. Yeah, really good strike. Might just take a neck off Daisen Maeda, but shot was on target, so I think it will be a Nakamura goal. But the strike is really top quality from Kito Nakamura. As I said, it came at the perfect time for Japan because the Netherlands were building pressure. They found their opener and they were just looking to grow further into the game and maybe add another and keep building to win this game. They needed a response, Japan, as they were in real danger of being just played out of this game completely. It's been a pretty negative approach to the start of the second half. Not meaning to disrespect their tactics, but gotta be honest, it's been a bit negative. That was lovely from Gravenberg, working into space, dribbling through, finding Somerville. Somerville on his left, trying to angle one. Oh, what a finish! Gorgeous from Crescencio Somerville. Rolls it in the bottom left corner. And the Dutch are in front again. Wow. Wonderful from Gravenberg in the build-up. And the finish by Crescencio Somerville was pinpoint perfect. As accurate as you want. Again, Gravenberg working in the tight spaces, finds Somerville, who just breaks off onto his left foot. Past Nakamura, angles it into that far corner. Full stretch, Suzuki couldn't keep it out. That is a perfect goal from Somerville. Spun it beautifully into the far corner. 2-1 Netherlands. This game, in the last 12 minutes, has sprung into life. And this, a wonderful moment for Crescencio Somerville. What a way to score your first international goal in only your third international appearance. Wonderful from Somerville. And there's still 25 minutes to go. Told you this game would be good. Took a while to get going, but now that we have, got a great game in our hands. Van Dijk. There's definitely a change at half-time from the Dutch, though, as they were not attacking anywhere near down that right-hand side as they have done, or as well as they have done in this second half. That's where they've caused the problems. That's where they've looked dangerous. And they're in away again here. This could be more dangerous. Cody Gakpo chipping it back onto his right foot. Gakpo! Great challenge. Good block by Ito, but the flag was up anyway against Gakpo. See it here. Held up by Marlon. A bit loose, and Tajani Rounders have fed it in behind Gakpo. A good half yard, maybe even a yard offside there. No excuse really there to be offside, but no changes as of yet, but just as I say that, there has been a change. Dyson Maeda has been replaced by Junior Ito. So Ito, the 33-year-old, is on. Here's Kubo! Oh, wanted to go from range there, Takafusa Kubo. Nice build-up play again. It was Litsudoan laid it off, and Maeda handed it to Kubo, and Kubo decided to hit one from range. And we'll have a hydration break, and I think the players will need a bit of a hydration break after the pretty electric start to the second half. 21 minutes we've played, and it's been much more energetic. Well, this game ebbing and flowing. The Dutch took the lead. Japan levelled before the Dutch have retaken the lead. All inside 13 minutes. The Netherlands lead from Virgil van Dijk's goal only lasted 6 minutes. And the Nakamura leveller only had them level for just short of 7 minutes before Somerville scored to give the Netherlands the lead once again. Well, we do have this break and play. A reminder for you of a double header of World Cup action for you tomorrow. We kick off Group G and H. Tomorrow is Spain, the European champions, taking on Cape Verde. Another one of those David and Goliath type ties in the group stages. That's tomorrow at 5 o'clock in that one. And Belgium take on Egypt. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock on LFS. Another double header of World Cup action for you. And then we've got more action on Tuesday. France against Senegal is our highlight game on Tuesday evening. And Wednesday, another doubleheader. Portugal against DR Congo, followed by England-Croatia on Wednesday night. And then we're back all the way to do it all over again for another 2 match rounds in the group stages. Kick off on Thursday, Czechia against South Africa at 5. Followed by Switzerland-Bosnia at 8. And on Friday, Scotland-Morocco follows USA-Australia. Oh, lovely games to look forward to. And there's some really good storylines emerging from those types of games, and we'll talk more about that across the week to come. The Netherlands, their next game's actually on Saturday. We will have the Netherlands against Sweden on Saturday for you. And Germany, Ivory Coast as well next Saturday. And Spain in action as well as Belgium once more next Sunday. And possibly Uruguay, Cape Verde, but we'll see. Anyway, triple changes incoming here from the Netherlands. Daniel Malen's going to be replaced by Memphis Depay. Crescencio Somerville, who's not long scored, he's going to be replaced. as well as his Tajani Reinders. And we're going to see the introduction of Caoimhan and Quinton Timber. So Timber, Caoimhan and Depay all on, replacing Reinders, Somerville and Malen. Triple Dutch change. 20 minutes or so to go. Netherlands 2, Japan 1. Blockbuster ending coming, I'm sure. End of the day, if either one of these two win, they will go down as de facto favourites to win the group from this stage. The Netherlands having more of the threat at the moment. Here comes De Jong. Timber was crowded out there in the middle by the Japanese midfield. Here's Ritsu Doan to Watanabe as referee has stopped the game for the moment as Takefusa Kubo is down. You see it here, just caught a little late by Denzel Dumfries. A little earlier. As they go off the field, of course. Well, Takefusa Kubo, it's going to be the end of his night because it doesn't look like he's going to be able to come back onto the field. So Japan down to 10 for the moment. We've got Cody Gakpo to defend here. Gakpo, chop it onto his right, trying to spin it back to the near post. Suzuki got in the way of it. Quick reactions from the Japanese goalkeeper to stop him. And that is vintage Cody Gakpo. He's got all the space he would have wanted on that left. Cuts inside Ritsu Doan and then drags back to try and find the near post with his right foot. The inside of the near post. In the end, find the hand of the Japanese goalkeeper. Depay will take the corner. Right-footed, deep to the back post. Van Hecke, but easily caught by Suzuki. Well, interestingly, what Japan do at the moment, they'll probably have to hurry up a substitute if Takefusa Kubo is unable to return to the field. He is off at the moment, receiving treatment on the far side of the pitch on the sidelines. So if he is unable to return, they'll have to quickly ready a substitute, but I'm sure they'll have that in contingents if he isn't able to return. And they're going to actually go to their bench a few times in one go here. Japan. Doan. Inside to Watanabe. Back to Ritsu Doan. Lovely chink back. Feeds it in behind. Watanabe at the byline, trying to cross it. Was clattered there by Mickey van der Ven, who strongly came across. I don't know whether that's going to be a corner or not, but applauded by his teammates there for the challenge. Mickey van der Ven again. Watanabe, whether he was onside by Virgil van Dijk or not, but Van der Ven committed in his challenge, and it will be a corner to Japan, but they will make these changes beforehand. Going to see the introduction of Yukinari Sugawara, of course the Southampton player, well, formerly Southampton, was on loan at Werder Bremen this season. Also Takehiro Tomiyasu, former Arsenal player, and Koki Ogawa. So a triple substitution for Japan. I'll tell you those changes in a moment. Corner it is then. It's Junior Ito who's going to take the corner. Let's see. Ito, right-footed, It's got a lot of lift on it. And the shot from the edge of the box is scooped over the crossbar quite comfortably by Nakamura. So confirmation of those changes, by the way. Ritsu Doan, Tsuyoshi Watanabe were two of those that came off for Sugawara and Tamayasu, and Takafusa Kubo, of course, came off for Koki Ogawa. So triple change. We're into the final 15 minutes of this game. Depay, Gakpo. Clipped across, Depay trying to acrobatically get to one, and on the outside there was dangerous, but Suzuki able to gather holds. I have to say, it's been very entertaining, this game, especially in the second half. But even in the first half, it was very intriguing between the two teams. It was more the chess match between the two that was more intriguing. Van Hecke and Van Dijk in aerial moments there, which they came out and surpassed. And the referee not seeing a foul on Gravenberch there. Daichi Kamada holding off the pressure of footliners there. Ito to Takahiro Tomiyasu. Kamada. Ito back to Kamada. There's two Itos on the pitch, by the way, now. Here's Junior Ito. Out wide it goes. To Sugawara. Tomiyasu. Junior Ito. Ito with the deep cross. Too deep. That will be kept in. And the other Ito, Hiroki Ito, has won Japan the throw. Thought that was going to go out for a throw in to Netherlands, but they did well there, Japan, to work it. Here's Junior Ito. Working inside. Not much room to manoeuvre there. Tomiyasu to Sugawara. Whips it early, Sugawara. Header by Ueda was away from target. It's picked up again in the left channel. Swung in deep from Hiroki Ito, shall I say, and Van de Ven able to head that away from Junior Ito on the far side. I mean, they've given a chance to bounce back. Look at that. All that, the two sets of fans enjoying the game together. Sugawara with a long throw. Bouncing ball, cleared away by Van Dijk. A bit awkward there from Taniguchi, but finds its way back to Suzuki. Up the middle there, Japan, but no way through there for Sano. Seen back to Verbruggen by the Netherlands, who will launch long here. Bart Verbruggen. Nicely taken down there, down the left by Hiroki Ito. And ultimately, Japan win the throw-in of Memphis Depay. Thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been a really good, enjoyable day of action. We've been treated to 11 goals. Lovely. Oh, Junior Ito gets the brick of the ball here. Looking for the cutback. The off-balance effort was dangerous for Bart Verbruggen, but he strung his hands together with it. Was Sugawara, I think. And just off balance, tried to get the power behind it. Just couldn't really test Bart Verbruggen, but they've certainly put more pressure on the Dutch since those changes of Japan. They've had the majority of the play. Maybe Japan having to push a little bit more, but also at the same time the Netherlands maybe just trying to manage the game a little bit, but under a bit of pressure at the moment. Here's Taniguchi. Tomiyasu, Sugawara, back to Takahiro Tomiyasu. Trying to find the angle. Ueda with a little flick. Nothing there to test Verbruggen. Into the last 10 minutes. As we see the referee's view of the Sugawara chance. Yeah, just off balance. Just couldn't generate the clean power on it that he would have desired. Well, the Netherlands have had 9 shots, 7 of them on target. 7 shots, 2 on target for Japan. As we're going to see a change here, Ryan Gravenberg. He set up both Dutch goals. He's coming off, and Nathan Ake's coming on, so maybe a back 3 from the Dutch? I wouldn't suspect so. Maybe it is. Possibly. Change of approach for Ronald Koeman. His team have dominated the possession, dominated the chances at times, and do lead this one by 2-1. Want to hang on to make sure this turns into 3 points. Japan will feel a little hard done by with the fact that if they don't come away with anything here, that they might be under a bit of pressure in the group, even so early on, depending on what happens between Sweden and Tunisia. There's a long way to go. That's a change still. Tomiyasu, Sugawara. Maybe a little bit risky there from Sano with a little flick. Ultimately, the Dutch forward play there didn't quite work, and Memphis Depay couldn't hold up that one. Easily retrieved in the end by Hiroki Ito. Yukinari Sugawara. Tomiyasu. Launch ball forward. There's Junior Ito battling with Ake. Only on the field, Junior Ito. A real danger. And he's done well to win the throw in there for Japan. Sugawara back to Tomiyasu. Options to cross to. Whips it in. Spinning away from goal. Van Dijk gets his foot to clear it. And a foul there by Memphis Depay, who's going to join his teammate in the book of Crescencio Somerville. Memphis Depay with the foul and the yellow card. Yeah, it's kind of shoved into the face of Taniguchi. That's a little bit aggressive. No attempt to win the ball whatsoever there, really. It's definitely a yellow card for Memphis Depay. I think the referee got that one exactly right. As we're going to see the Japanese substitution, we're going to see the starting centre forward Ayase Ueda off. And coming on is going to be Kento Shoigai. Depay trying to get involved in the build-up as De Jong was upended. That's going to be a free kick to Japan, to the Netherlands, fouled by Japan. We're going to see the introduction of Brian Brobby to replace Cody Gakpo. So another substitution for the Netherlands. That's both sides now used up all 5 subs, so this is how we will end the game. Well, these 2 setups. Dijk, Van Hecke under pressure there. And the touch there from Daichi Kamada sees it out for a Netherlands throw. Depay on the chase to this ball. Robbie on the end of it now, and Robbie's cross comfortably into the hands of Zeon Suzuki. Sugawara's ball forward. That's a dangerous one towards Shogai. Clock ticking away from Japan here. Junior Ito. Sugawara. Onto Sano. Early cross from Nakamura. Nicely worked here. As De Jong tried to block it. Clean down the left. The ball swung in dangerously. Falls to Ito on the far side. And Daikin in the way of it. They are pushing Japan. And the Dutch holding on at the moment to their narrow 2-1 lead. How long will that last at this approach? As they'll get the free kick here. Japan. Takahiro Tomiyasu caught. Junior Ito is going to deliver this free kick then for Japan. Ito hit away at the front post. Reaches back to the edge of the box. Nakamura. Sano. Back to Kito Nakamura. Nakamura's ball in. Dangerous as Van de Ven had to get his head to it to clear. Ito to Tomiyasu. Back to Junior Ito. Drifting infield, nice play. Daichi Kamada doing enough to win the corner. Van de Ven says it should be goal kick, but corner given. Of course, if it is an incorrectly given corner, the VAR can overturn it. Lovely from Ito. And Kamada does well there to knock it off Van de Ven. And Junior Ito will take this corner. Swung in with the right foot, headed away at the near posts. That was Frankie de Jong, I think, got his head to that one. And VAR did check whether the corner was correct or not. They confirmed it was. Nakamura. Beautiful take in by Sugawara. Angles one with a lovely run from Junior Ito. Trying to cross with a cutback and throwing his body in the way. Denzel Dumfries stopping that attempt. Another Japanese corner. Well, I have to say Junior Ito, since he's come onto the field for Japan, has been a real breath of fresh air. And has started since Japan have gone on the front foot. Has been a real major danger. And ball in, header, finds a way in! And that is a fabulous goal from the long throw. And Japan have found their leveller. They did it once, they've done it twice. The Dutch led, but the Japanese respond. And that is from a long throw, and it came through so many. I think it's Koki Ogawa that gets the definitive moment, that takes it towards goal. We see it in again. Header on, and it's Bart Verbruggen has to do better, in my opinion, on that occasion. It just deflects up, and he just is caught out by the deflection. But he dives too early. Yeah, it just comes off the head of, I think it actually came off Shogai last. But look at the celebrations from Hajime Moriyasu, and the Japanese bench erupted. I think whoever it came off last might get the definition of the goal. I think they're calling it Daichi Kamada's goal. To me, it looked like Shogai had the last touch, but there were so many in the mix that it could have come off any one of them. But in the dying embers of this, Japan have tied it up and made it 2-2 with a matter of minutes to remain. And you've got to say, Japan, since they have taken on the more attacking approach, have been more dangerous. It seems easy to say, but the Dutch have reverted back into a defensive shape, trying to hang on to the lead. And when you play like that, you're in real trouble. And Japan decided to go for it. Yes, it came from a set piece, but doesn't really matter. They find the net again, and they find another leveler. 6 added minutes at the end of this. There might be another twist in the tail before the final whistle. I think they have awarded the goal to Daichi Kamada, but Koki Ogawa is credited with the assist rather than the goal. Mickey van der Ven's been given a yellow card here for a foul. Who knows? This game might not be completely over. Japan might completely turn it around at this rate. The team seem to be the team with the momentum and the feeling of being more dangerous. But the Dutch have got such great threat going the other way that could be a bit of a risk. At the moment, I don't think either side will be too disappointed with the draw. Of course, the Netherlands led twice. They would be disappointed the fact that they've conceded 2 goals after taking the lead on 2 separate occasions, but in the grand scheme of things, I think a draw wouldn't be too unfair of a result, really. Yes, the Dutch have dominated possession at times, but there's very little other than that between them in solitary moments. And I don't think the Netherlands have deserved to command this game right the way through. I think Japan have looked a real threat at times. That's a ball in behind for Bruggen. Easily in the end, gathering. It's a testing one. A test he passed on that occasion. Well, now the Netherlands have to push up a little bit more and maybe try and go for a winner. Maybe we will get that dramatic ending of one of these two teams just maybe not settling for a draw and trying to push for the ultimate 3 points. And of course, at the moment, Sweden and Tunisia will be watching on keenly, thinking if this does end a draw, like in Scotland's case, the chance later in the evening, one of those two will have a chance to go top of the group if this ends a draw. So Sweden and Tunisia will be watching on. Here's Denzel Dumfries trying to swing the ball into the box. The ball headed on and over by Caoimhan there with the efforts. See this beauty. And Ogawa got the first header, but it was Daichi Kamada who had the second touch to it, and he directed it in. I don't think Koki Ogawa will be too pleased by the fact that it's not being credited to him, because he would argue that his header was on target, and really you could probably say he would be right on that front, but they credit it to Daichi Kamada. Kamada with his 13th international goal. If it was Ogawa, it would have been his 12th international goal, so we're splitting hairs in terms of tallies there between the two. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, the Netherlands have conceded another goal. Japan don't care how it's come about. Okay, lifting it over the top, headed away by Sugawara. He launches this one forward, no one too far forward for Japan. Maybe they would be a little bit happy to settle for a draw here, Japan, considering they've been behind twice and maybe just don't want to take too much of a risk to maybe try and snatch a winner and risk of losing it all over again. But their more defensive approach has seen them concede the 2 goals, so it's one of those where it's a hard balance to find. Virgil van Dijk, 90 seconds of the 6 added to go. Netherlands 2, Japan 2. A real goal fest of a game after what was a very cagey affair in the first half, but Virgil van Dijk's header separated them. Kito Nakamura levelled it. Dumfries measures one in behind. The cutback attempt was blocked by Ito. Ito tries to clear it, comes off Denzel Dumfries, and Ogawa trying to carry it forward. Ultimately, the Dutch retrieve back to Bart Verbruggen. As I was saying, Somerville then re-gave the lead to the Netherlands before ultimately Daichi Kamada has tied things up for the second time in this match between the two. Enjoyable, to say the very least. Well, it might not be done yet, as that's a heavy and high cross. Kept in by Mickey van der Ven. Maybe one last glimmer for the Dutch. Depay facing away from goal. Challenge cleanly, says the referee. It's the one last Japanese move. Junior Ito goes backward on that occasion, though, to Sugawara and then to Tomiyasu. Just short of 6 minutes up. Ito, Hiroki Ito, on the opposite side, and I think they're happy to settle with this now. Japan see the clock run out. And there it is, the final whistle. Japan, despite trailing twice, ultimately come up with the point that they so desired. It's a point that they will very much take. The Dutch, who ultimately will be disappointed by not coming away with 3 points, having taken the lead twice in the game. Virgil van Dijk's header and Crescencio Somerville's class little spinning finish, but Japan, a tough nut to crack in the first half, and a tough team to keep down in the seconds. The fight back ability. And the two head coaches share some nice words. Ronald Koeman and the Japanese head coach Hajime Moriyasu, both battling their way through the game. And a 2-2 draw to open Group F. And now all on Sweden or Tunisia to try and top the group with a win in their game a little later. Final score, it is finished Netherlands 2, Japan 2. Full of the goals in our two games this Sunday afternoon. A total of, if I can count my numbers right, 12 goals from our two games that we've watched tonight. Germany's 7-1 thumping of Curaçao earlier this evening, and a 2-2 classic between Netherlands and Japan. What a wonderful game we have seen tonight. We're back tomorrow early evening, 5 o'clock, a little earlier than today. Spain taking on Cape Verde tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Group H gets underway as the European champions start their World Cup push, and we'll see how they fare in Atlanta tomorrow at 5. That's followed up by Belgium-Egypt tomorrow at 8. But it's been a very enjoyable evening. Thanks very much for joining us. Germany off the mark with a 7-1 win, and Netherlands and Japan couldn't be separated after 2 goals apiece. Thanks for your company. We'll see you tomorrow. Night night.